Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you've all been having a wonderful start to 2025. I hope you had lovely winter holidays. As I said in my last video before Christmas, I was going to be a bit later coming back to videos again in January because I actually spent my Christmas working really hard on a really exciting project. So that's what I've been up to for the past few weeks, and I can't wait to tell you a bit more about this later on in the video. But I wanted to just have a bit of a chatty catch up with you. I've got a cup of tea and I thought it would be nice to get cozy and just catch you up on what I've been reading. I got a few books over Christmas as well, and even though it was a working break for me, I did manage to still read a bit in the evenings. So I have enjoyed some good books lately too, and I just want to share them with you. So let's get started. One thing that Mum and I always like to do, it's become a bit of a tradition now, is just before Christmas, either on the 23rd or 24th, we go to our local bookshop and we pick out books for each other. And it's just such a fun way to really feel that Christmas has come, and it's just a lovely bookish tradition that we share. Definitely a bit inspired by the Scandi tradition of exchanging books on Christmas Eve, but it's also a nice way to support our local bookshop. So we chose some books from our local bookshop, and I read quite a few of them as well over the break. And the first one that I picked up was Murder Under the Mistletoe by the Reverend Richard Coles. This is part of a series of books. They're cozy mysteries that feature a vicar in a little English village. And I'd heard that they were good, but I hadn't tried any of them. But I just found I couldn't resist the lovely festive cover. And you know I like a nice cozy mystery at Christmas time, so I just thought I have to try this. And I didn't mind that I wasn't starting at the beginning of the series. I thought I would just dip in and try this one. And it's really short, as you can see. It's more like a long short story, and that made it such a nice read to just curl up with on Christmas Eve. That was when I started it, and then I finished it on the evening of Christmas Day. I sort of read it in 2 evenings, and I really enjoyed it. It was just a properly cozy mystery, and it was really nice and inspired me actually to get the first one in the series, which is Murder Before Evensong. I was able to find a second-hand hardback of this, so I was happy about that. Let me know if you've read any books by Richard Coles, if you've read any of the ones from this series, because I'd like to know what you think of them if you've read them. I did really enjoy this one, so I can't wait to start the first one in the series, which is a bit more of a sort of proper book length as well. And I hope I'll enjoy this one too. But yes, if you're a fan of cozy mysteries, I would definitely recommend giving these a go, because certainly the Christmas one I thoroughly enjoyed. So that was a lovely festive read. And then I also picked up this very attractive, another beautiful book, The Serviceberry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And you might know her as the author of Braiding Sweetgrass. I'm sure many of you do know that book. But Robin Wall Kimmerer is an Indigenous scientist, and this is her latest book, which it's a bit more like an essay in terms of length and style. But I really enjoyed it, and it was a lovely book again to read at Christmas time in some ways, because that's so much about a season of generosity and kindness and goodwill to others, and being thankful and grateful. And her book, The Serviceberry, as it says, it's about an economy of gifts and abundance. So in this book, she taps into her interests in the natural world, as well as the wisdom of her Indigenous ancestors. But she also brings all of this information to looking at the economy in a very interesting way. And she talks about how gift economies work both in the natural world, but also how we could be inspired by them in our material world as well. So it was just a fascinating read. I never read anything about economics. That really isn't generally a field I'm interested in. But because this blends really amazing nature writing and a very different way of viewing economics, I found it a fascinating read and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would really recommend this one as well. Before I talk about my next book, I wanted to share that I have a brand new offer code with Serious Readers to share with you. I'm so thrilled to say that Serious Readers are very kindly sponsoring today's video. As you know, I absolutely love their reading lights. This is my high definition floor light that I use all the time. So I'm really thrilled to have a new offer code and an even bigger offer code to share with you. So my new offer code is Miranda, all capital letters, just Miranda. And if you use that offer code, you'll get £150. My offer code used to get you £100 off. It's now £150 off any of the high definition lights by Serious Readers, as well as free shipping in the UK. This offer code does also apply to international orders, so although the free shipping is only for those within the UK, the offer code of £150 off can be applied to international orders as well as UK orders. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that too. I've had my Serious Light for well over 2 years now. I absolutely love it. I use it all the time and it's made such a wonderful difference to my reading life. I'm a very big reader and I use this light all through the year, but of course it really comes into its own in the winter months when the days are still so short and so dark, although they are getting a bit lighter each day, which is really exciting. But I do a lot of my reading and journaling in the evenings, so it's really important to me to have a very good reading light. Especially with my circumstances, the house I live in is pretty old and we don't have any overhead lights in this house, in the living room or in my bedroom, which is where I mainly like to read and journal. So for me, I went for the cordless light option for my Serious floor light, and I absolutely love this option because it means I can just pick up this light and carry it to wherever I want to use it in the house. In the evenings, it's definitely pretty low lit everywhere because we don't have a lot of lamps around. There aren't very many sockets in the walls for lights, so it's really great for me to have the cordless option. So when I'm journaling in the evenings in my bedroom, or I might be reading in my bedroom, I can just carry the light upstairs and have it there, which is really handy. But also if I want to read in the armchair in the living room in the evenings, then I can have this light right by me too. And I just love that option. But obviously there are lots of different high definition lights that you can choose from. I just wanted to tell you why I went for the cordless one and why I love this option so much. Another thing that I really appreciate about the Serious lights is the amazing light quality. Serious Readers use daylight wavelength technology, which essentially replicates the daylight spectrum as closely as it's technically possible to do so. So when I'm reading with my light, I feel like I'm reading in a pool of natural light, or at least as close to natural light as you can get. And again, that just makes such a big difference to the quality of my reading life, and I really don't have to worry about overstraining my eyes when I use my high definition light. I also love that I can adjust the brightness levels on this light as well as the width of the beam of the light. So again, that really helps me to reduce eye strain as I can get just the right amount of light that's good for me. Anyway, if you're keen to also have a great reading light in these long winter months, then do take advantage of my brand new offer code. Again, that offer code is Miranda, all capital letters Miranda, and that gets you £150 off any of the high definition lights by Serious Readers, as well as free shipping within the UK. I'll put all the details of my offer code and the relevant link in the video description box just down below, so you can check out all the details there. But now let's get back to my video. I also saw this gorgeous book, which is actually a really good example of why it's so nice to go to a real bookshop as well, because it makes you able to pick up and browse books. And this was one I saw at the Little Ripon bookshop, the local bookshop that we went to. And it's At Home in a Book by Lauren O'Hara. And I think I'd sort of seen pictures of this online, but it was being able to pick this book up and look at the illustrations inside that made me really want to buy it, because it's just stunning. I love the idea behind this book. I mean, it's a lovely picture book to share with children, but it's just so nice for adults too, honestly, because she's taken a lot of favourite children's classics like Anne of Green Gables, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Heidi, Little Women, Sherlock Holmes stories, The Little Princess, and she's done just a really interesting take on the stories. She always does a lovely illustration of the book, and there's a little bit about the book. And then Lauren O'Hara just brings the world of the novel to life through her illustrations. So she examines the place, the landscape of the story, as well as the characters in the book. She tends to illustrate those. As you can see here, this is all about Anne of Green Gables. So there's Anne Shirley, there's Marilla, Matthew, Diana, Gilbert. She does sort of quotes from the book, but also little character descriptions, and just illustrated elements of the story. Like here she's done Anne's favourite things, so things like apple blossom in a cracked blue jug. I love that detail. October, we know Anne loves October. Apples, geranium, violets, writing stories, ice cream, dresses with puff sleeves, just so much to enjoy if you love the story. So yes, I really recommend this book. It's just beautiful, and like I said, one for adults as well as children to enjoy, and I was really thrilled to get that one. And then I had some lovely books as a Christmas present from a lovely friend who knows how much I love secondhand books, and she found some at a local book sale, actually in Geneva in Switzerland, and sent these to me. So I was so thrilled. Ballet Shoes for Anna by Noel Stratfield. I had this one when I was little, but it got lost over the years, so I'm so happy to have a copy of this book back on my shelves, and really beautiful one. I adore Noel Stratfield. Ballet Shoes is one of my very, very favourite stories, but she wrote quite a few good ballet books, so I'm excited to have this one again. And then also this one, an old folio edition of Dickens' London, which is fabulous. Dickens, of course, has many famous scenes set in London. I love the old Folio Society bookmark. It's always so fun when you find things like that in the pages of secondhand books. So I know this is going to be an anthology that I'll really enjoy, and it's so nice to have an old folio like that. So that was wonderful. And then my mum has been really enjoying reading a lot of Minette Walters' historical fiction books, which are all set in Dorset. She covers the plague and the years of the English Civil War as well, and my mum's just been really enjoying them. So she got one for me that she thought would be a good one for me to start with, that I would enjoy, and that's The Swift and the Harrier by Minette Walters. So my mum has been raving about this book, and I can't wait to dive into it soon too. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And then the publisher very kindly sent me Laura Wood's new novel. This is her new YA novel, A Game of Scandal. I think this is now the third in the series. It starts with The Agency for Scandal, which I really enjoyed, and then the second one is A Season for Scandal, and then this one, A Game of Scandal, is coming out February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, which I think is very appropriate because of her book. If this book is like Laura Wood's other books, and there's always a fun romance that goes through the story. And this is a really fun series that she's done, all about a sort of Victorian secret agency of women who help other women with problems that need solving. So I'm excited to read this one. It'd be a great Valentine themed read for February, I think. So I was so pleased to get that. All right, now I want to tell you about the books that I am reading at the moment or have just recently finished. So my current read is Winter in Thrush Green by Miss Reed. This is a reread, of course, but I've just felt like a really sort of cozy, comforting read at bedtime, and so this is my sort of bedtime book read, and I'm really enjoying it. I always love returning to the world of Thrush Green, and of course this one is seasonally appropriate. It's the second one in the series. If you're brand new to the series, you might want to start with the first one, Thrush Green, but it doesn't really matter. And I have to say I'm just really enjoying returning to this cozy seasonal read. Of course, I've got some book club reads on the go. So I'm reading the Morville Hours for the Comfort Book Club, my YouTube book club. This is a reread, and I always do love returning to this book too. And then for my Seasons of Story community, I'm reading Under the Greenwood Tree, which is another book I'm also enjoying returning to. And then this was a book that I read over the holidays, Midnight in Vienna by Jane Thinn, and I really enjoyed it. It's a historical, it's a bit of a mystery and a bit of a thriller all combined. There is a murder that happens, but there's also sort of espionage going on in this. It's set in the September of 1938, so a year before the outbreak of World War II. The political landscape is very tense in Britain, and this follows sort of two main protagonists. One is a man who has been partly disgraced through sort of no fault of his own, so he can no longer work officially for the British intelligence services, but he does work unofficially for them, and he's been following a lot of writers on the red list, so writers suspected of having communist ties in Britain. And by chance he becomes involved with a young woman who has had to return to Britain after working as an au pair in Vienna because of the awful upheavals happening in Vienna with the rise of Hitler. So those are the two main protagonists. They're a really great pairing, and like I said, there's a sort of murder mystery that happens that they sort of work together to solve, but there's also a lot else going on. And what I especially like about this book is Jane Thinn's attention to detail and the way that she really can sort of conjure up this moment in time, and you get all these details like what lipstick a character's likely to be wearing from that time, and details on clothing, and she also pulls in some real life characters from history and writers too, like Dorothy L. Sayers makes a cameo appearance in this book. So I just really enjoy little historic details like that, and you get the feeling that this has been really well researched. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one, and I'd like to read more by Jane Thinn because apparently she's written some other books set kind of just pre-World War II and then during the war as well, I think. So if you like historical fiction from that period, I would recommend giving this one a go. And then this book was another recommendation from my mum because she read it and loved it, and she thought I would love it too. And I do, because there's so much about language and the history of words, and I studied linguistics as an undergraduate, so I find all of that kind of thing very interesting. I love Susie Dent and all of her work all about language. So this is her first novel. She's written many books, but this is her first novel, Guilty by Definition, and it's a great mystery. If you love a bit of cozy crime, there are definitely cozy elements to this mystery, but if you also love language, the setting is great too. It's set in Oxford. I think she calls it the Clarendon English Dictionary, but it's so clearly, based on the Oxford English Dictionary. This is where the heroine of the story works, and it's just a really fun book if you love language and if you love mysteries as well. This is about the heroine's sister who has gone missing years ago, and suddenly cryptic letters start arriving at the Clarendon English Dictionary, and the team there sort of work together to try to solve these riddles contained in these strange letters. So it's just all very intriguing, but yes, very good. So definitely one that I would recommend. So that's all of the bookish news that I wanted to catch you up on, apart from one really important bookish announcement, which I'm so excited to tell you about. So if you're a member of my Seasons of Story community, you will already know this because I announced this in my community just before Christmas. But what I have been working on all through Christmas is my very first book, which I'm so thrilled to tell you about. I'm writing a type of literary anthology. It will be published later this year in the autumn, so I can't tell you too much about it yet, but that's what I've been working on, and I'm just so excited. It's really got my own kind of personal spin on the idea of this anthology, and I've been working so hard on it all through autumn and this winter, but I just can't wait to share it with you. You know how much I love my poetry anthologies, prose anthologies, so it feels really special to have been working on one myself, and I really can't wait to be able to share it once it's ready and out in the world. I still can't quite believe that it's happening, so I've been really looking forward to just making that announcement, and I'll keep you up to date as things move forward, and once it becomes actually available to pre-order and things like that. But thank you so much for your support of my channel and what I do, and yes, I can't wait to share this next step with you. I'm really excited about it, so I can't wait to share more when I'm able to. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Do let me know what books you got over Christmas, what you've been reading lately. I'd love to know. And thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.